Hello everyone, welcome. And today in this video, I'm going to be telling you why Cedar Point should take my advice on what I think should come next to Cedar Point, because I'm really smart, that's why. And of course, no, this is not going to be like every other enthusiast prediction or something like that. Oh, this roller coaster is closest 4 hours to Cedar Point. No, it's none of that. Let me tell you why Cedar Point really needs this certain type of attraction, and no, it's not a roller coaster. Alright, so coaster enthusiasts suck. But in a park full of world-class attractions, what could Cedar Point possibly add to make their park even better? Well, let me tell you. First things first, we're getting roller coasters right out of the picture. We do not need any more at the moment, because Cedar Point's already loaded with them. They got like 16, 17, I don't even remember how much. But we're not a roller coaster. Also, quick side note here, whenever you're riding Maverick, do you just like ever look at like the random skeleton haunt pieces they have for Cutthroat Cove? Because they just leave them up all year round, and it's just kind of cool to look at it while you're riding Maverick. That I don't have any explanation of why I brought that up. I just wanted to share it with all of you guys, because why not? So it's not going to be a roller coaster, we established that. So what's it actually going to be? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's actually going to be something you do with your family. Something we enthusiasts very much so desire to actually have one day when we grow up, and it will never happen. Because look at us. We do I have to explain? So it's going to be a family type attraction, but not a roller coaster, considering that we just got a Wild Mouse this year. So what are we going to add after Top Thrill 2 in 2024? Ladies and gentlemen, in the next few years after Top Thrill 2 is introduced to Cedar Point in 2024, Cedar Point should invest in the one and only dark ride type attraction for the park. A dark ride is something Cedar Point has needed for an extremely long amount of time. Like ever since 1870 when the park opened, they should have got one day one right off the bat. They shouldn't have built Switchback Railway, they should have just built Spider-Man. Duh. But also at the same time, I'm kind of happy they haven't built a dark ride yet at Cedar Point, at least in its modern era, because we probably would have gotten something like Boo Blasters or something like that. Do you want Boo Blasters at Cedar Point? No, of course not. I would say that Cedar Point deserves something a lot more better than Boo Blasters, because it's Cedar Point. It's pretty much their flagship park, and they deserve a pretty awesome dark ride. So we're going to come up with one, and we're going to find a spot to put it in the park that fits, because they're landlocked. So let's do it. Alright, first we're going to have to set some ground rules. Cedar Fair cannot afford anything on the limits of like Symbolica at Efteling, or Rise of the Resistance at Disney Parks, or Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure. There's just no money for attractions like that. Another side note here, if Universal and like Disney Efteling spend like millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars on these dark rides, and then Hagrid's right here, $300 million to build Hagrid's, like Universal could have built like 6 B&M Gigas, like they could have put them right next to each other, 6 of them. And I don't know about you, but I really think we need 6 B&M Gigas having a full-on race / dueling B&M Gigas. Dueling Dragons times 3. $300 million well spent right there. But let's get back to our main question here. What type of dark ride does Cedar Point need in the future or right now? Well, first we're going to have to start with a theme. What's the theme of the dark ride going to be? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a fantastic theme, and it fits so perfectly for Cedar Point, or pretty much all Cedar Fair parks. So here it is. The theme of Cedar Point's new dark ride that will eventually come to the park at some point in the near future, hopefully, will be themed to Peanuts characters. Whoa! Alright, so we're going to take a play out of the Six Flags books. We're going to come up with a super awesome dark ride, and we're just going to clone it to every single Cedar Fair park, kind of like what they did with Justice League, because Justice League's a fun ride. Let's put it to every Six Flags park. So we're just going to do that with Peanuts characters. Now with the Justice League rides, those rides are meant to be intense because we're fighting bad guys with superheroes. It's like supposed to be like epic, intense fight and stuff like that. But with the Peanuts characters, we have Charlie Brown and Snoopy. So it's going to be more of a lightheart themed dark ride. Okay, so now that we have our dark ride theme with the Peanuts characters, what type of dark ride is this going to be? We're going to go with the classic interactive shooting dark ride type dark ride. I chose this one because people really like interactive shooting dark rides. People like just shooting the targets. It's fun, it keeps you engaged, and it's very rewritable because you try to get the best score with the people you're with. So I think it's a fantastic addition for Cedar Point. So we have our shooting dark ride, but I want our shooting dark ride to be an actual like 3D shooting dark ride, so it's not gonna be like physical props. It's gonna be screens, kind of like Knott's Berry Tales. And do not ask me how I have some Knott's Berry Tales 3D glasses in my possession. So what I'm thinking here is that we're going to use the ride system that Knott's Berry Farm uses for Knott's Berry Tales, their dark ride, but instead of having the theme for the bears that was from the original attraction at Knott's Berry Farm, we're going to be using the Peanuts character, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and the whole gang. And from my point of view, I feel like this is a fantastic idea for Cedar Fair. Now, yes, I'm just some random kid, and I definitely have no experience at the park, or any management business or dealing with these situations like this. But I feel like, hey, if you already have Peanuts themed attractions and lands inside of these Cedar Fair parks, let's bring a whole attraction. Let's bring a whole like dark ride themed around Peanuts, Charlie Brown, and the whole Peanuts gang. So I kind of feel like, at least from like a like random park person's POV, hey, this seems like a great idea. But I'm sure this idea has been brought up in like board meetings many times of like, hey, this seems like a cool idea. I'm sure there's probably some reason, maybe like legal reasons, I don't know, maybe, but we're just gonna go off the point that this seems like a really cool idea. So what's the story gonna be in this attraction? Well, that's where you are gonna come in, because I don't want to make this video anymore, and you're gonna tell me in the comments what you think the story should be. Hooray! I really didn't have much planned with this video. I just kind of thought about it one day. I'm like, hey, this seems like a cool idea, and then I just went with it. So there was no script. There never is a script. So just tell me what you think the attraction should be with the story, and have a great day. Goodbye.